Welcome back to the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford. It's Stephon Anthony's #1 team off the field. It's right here at Veterans Ford. Again, the choice of Stephon Anthony, the black and gold's first-round pick, his choice right here, Veterans Ford. We're back here on the John Fourcade Show. Mike to tell you along with John Fourcade. And John, we're looking at it right now, back-to-back week now, LSU getting beaten in the trenches. And we talked about Arkansas's big offensive line last week, 31-14. Arkansas rushing for almost 300 yards. LSU didn't even get 60 yards rushing. Leonard Fournette, 19 rushes, 91 yards, 1 touchdown. But man, Brandon Harris constantly getting pressure, a lot of sacks on him. And this early on in the game, he just turns it up the field and bad angles of pursuit here, and he just outruns Jamal Adams into the end zone. And then again, man, look at, no one touches Alex Collins until he gets to about the 1 yard line. It's a push almost into the end zone.
Push into the end zone.
So, when you have that much free time, you can just see it here. And again, look at Arkansas's offensive line just blow LSU's front seven completely off the line of scrimmage. And then this is kind of a lucky throw here, so to speak. Brandon Harris hits Malachi Dupree off of the foot of Traven Durrell. But man, bang, a little trick play right off the edge. And again, LSU defenders miss tackle, and then nobody's in the frame after that up until you get about to the 5 yard line. For the boot, so to speak, 2 straight years, Arkansas has beaten LSU, and it almost was 3 straight years. Because when you think about a couple years ago, Anthony Jennings comes in, hit Traven Durrell to win that ball game, and then last year, total beatdown, basically held them scoreless. And in this game, John, they weren't even in the ball game. You could tell by halftime, it looked as though Dracula had spent the night in Baton Rouge and sucked all the blood out of LSU's football team.
Well, I didn't expect that football game to go like that. You and I sat here and thought LSU would win a close football game. There's some issues with LSU, and we talked about it prior to coming on this segment right here. The defensive line for LSU, in my books, is soft, slow, and not big enough. And then that's just the D-line. I'm going to tell you what, the linebacking core is the same way. There's some slow, undersized guys playing linebacker. The best positions are the secondary guys, but they're making poor angles on their tackles. The pass you saw they threw the touchdown on was a 5 yard pass, and he takes it to the house. It's sort of like LSU's got to make some adjustments, got to make some changes, and I know you can't do it now. You're stuck with who you have. But I'm going to say this much. How is LSU's offensive line not producing 2 weeks in a row, can't run the football, and we thought all year long, best offensive line in the SEC.
That was the strength of that team, along with Fournette, and that's going away. And you know what? Almost like the confidence got knocked out of them in that Alabama game. Right. And that offensive line has never played the same. And listen, everybody's got injuries. You can say, well, injuries are part of it, and it is part of the game. But right now, you know what? You got to suck it up and play. And they were not a physical team against Arkansas. I think that's what drove less up the wall.
And my whole take on this is this: if you're thinking, or if they're thinking, or whatever their philosophy is saying, well, you know what? A lot was taken out of us in the Alabama game. We can't run the ball. Well, you can't throw the ball either. And, the tip pass for a touchdown. One play, they threw a 40-yard long pass. It's either going to be interception for a punt or you make the catch. That's what they're hoping for. He scrambles the other day, Harris does, and fumbles the football, and Arkansas scoops it up. They don't have a passing game. Well, if you don't have your running game and you sure don't have a passing game, you're up the boat, up the creek without a paddle. You know what I'm talking about. And that's what's killing these guys right now. I don't care what everybody says. They can't throw the football to be able to compete in the SEC right now. They got a great running back. They're not running the ball well lately. Now, look, they're going to play Ole Miss this weekend, who's got a really good up front 4 guys there. They struggle a little bit with their linebacking core. They've given up some yardage here lately, but they've given up yardage in the passing department.
Not against the run.
We'll see what else you can do in the passing game. If you don't have a passing game, Mike, you can't win. I don't care who you are or what league you're in. You got to be able to throw the football.
We're going to go to the standings in college football and see the rankings overall on what it's broken down. Clemson still #1, Alabama #2, Ohio State 3, Notre Dame 4. A lot of people now all of a sudden getting on the Iowa bandwagon. But, I just look at that schedule, and Iowa's a good team, but they're not an upper echelon team. Oklahoma State 6, and a team that I don't think anybody would want to play now is Oklahoma. Man, Mayfield, he's made some big-time plays for the Sooners. Florida is 8th, Michigan State 9th, Baylor 10th, and that'll all change next week because of the fact Ohio State playing Michigan State and Baylor going up against Oklahoma State.
And, yeah, that's the fact right now. Oklahoma's a team you don't want to talk about in the Big 12. They're all going to beat each other up here, figure it all out right now. But you talk about Iowa, you know, they're not playing anybody.
No.
You know, you can. That's why
they're a solid college football
I like
team.
what people say is, you know, how do you have a one-loss team over an undefeated team? Because you can play, you know, and then I don't want to hear people complain about, well, you know, these guys are undefeated. Well, in that case, you better bump Houston up there if you want to go by undefeated team. Doesn't work that way. Look who you play, understand what conference you're in, and I can understand. The Pac-12, you're out of it. The Big 12, you're going to get somebody in there because it's going to happen. Now the question is, if Notre Dame beats Stanford, they're going to compete against the fact that it's between one of them, Pac-10, Pac-12, no, the Big 12 versus Notre Dame.
Man, you want to bet that Notre Dame gets in with that?
No
I
doubt.
mean, come on.
Notre
if they
Dame
beat Stanford, they in. Man, congratulations also to Tulane, Curtis Johnson, going up to Army, 34-31. You know, everybody out certainly representing what happened late last week in France. And then Tanner Lee hits. Man, a young man from the West Bank, West Jefferson High School, Teddy Veal, 90 yards, the second longest touchdown hookup in Tulane history. So congratulations to Tanner Lee and also Teddy Veal, who I think is one heck of a receiver. And Tanner, when he is hot, John, he gets in a groove, he can really light you up.
That's no doubt.
And then here we go again. Defensively, you're making some plays here for the score. And man, listen, I wish that they could put Nico Marley. Man, you watch him play each and every week, how many big plays that little guy makes, and then bang, you hit the big running play here. But again, special teams, again, we talk about it every week on this show about Tulane. A special teams breakdown got Army right back into this football game, and then Army really got back into this, a little fade out pass out in the corner. And then they tried a little trickery, which they got caught on, but Dorico comes in, Andrew Dorico comes in, hits the field goal for Tulane, gives them a win, 34-31, and man, for Tulane, which has really been on a dry spell, to try to win, it really was a tough thing. One guy who really played big too, Tenzel Smart, big defensive tackle, young man from Scotlandville Magnet High School out in Baton Rouge. I know a little bit about the recruiting of him. Some SEC schools tried to get in late. Man, he was in on 9 tackles last Saturday against Army, 2 tackles for losses and a forced fumble. So, man, Tulane playing SMU this week, John. This is their opportunity. If you want to piece back-to-back wins, SMU's a one-win football team. You can't breathe the air of winning just one game. This is CJ's spot to piece it 2 together.
There's no doubt. They have to go this week and beat a SMU team that's not very good. You can't go right down there and blow this game. It's a golden opportunity for Tulane to win back-to-back games this season.
So congratulations to the Tulane Green Wave. We'll be back with more of the John Fourcade Show, sponsored each week by Veterans Ford.
Spotlight.